In the last several decades, we've seen many examples of newly created businesses that rapidly grew into massive companies. The kinds of businesses that were able to attain this level of success in such a short time have one basic thing in common. They found a problem that many people had, and then they solved it. It reminds me of a quote from Steve Jobs, who said, "It's really hard to design products by focus groups. A lot of times, people don't know what they want until you show it to them." It's no surprise that when Uber first came along, they quickly revolutionized the way that people moved around the city. No more expensive taxis with terrible customer service, just the click of a button and a mild-mannered stranger will zip you off to your destination. Because of Uber's success, they're valued at billions of dollars. This has given them the freedom to research and develop other products, including driverless cars. The more that I researched this technology, the more that I realized it would have far-reaching implications. Driverless cars will alter life in such a drastic way that someday we might look back and think, that was one problem I wish was never solved. And it comes down to this. Uber is cheap, currently, but it could be much, much cheaper. It's not the car or the oil or the business model that's holding it back. It's the person behind the wheel. Uber is well aware of this problem, which is why they've invested so much money into their driverless car program. They know that it's the future of their company. Pretty soon, these cars are going to hit the street, and I think the day is coming sooner than people might realize. It's going to weird a few people out, and at first, I think there's going to be plenty of people who will swear they'll never trust a robot to do their driving, but I don't think this feeling's going to last very long, and here's why. Imagine if you pulled out your phone to call an Uber, and suddenly there's a second option. The first human option is going to cost you $22 to get to the airport, and the second driverless option is only going to cost you $2.20. That is the moment when the average person is going to stop caring. The same thing will also apply to public transit. The only reason that a bus ticket is still $2 or $3 is because they have to pay the driver. As soon as they have a way around this, everything becomes much cheaper. This is going to make Uber an incredible amount of money, and the very second that they have the opportunity to move away from their drivers, they absolutely will. It's not necessarily an evil move, and it actually makes sense from a dollar and cents point of view. But here's the thing. The impact of driverless cars is going to absolutely decimate the economy in a way that we have never seen. It's the entire reason that I made this video. Currently, there's about 160,000 Uber drivers working in the United States. They will be the first casualties of the driverless car program, but this is peanuts in comparison to the 3.5 million truck drivers who currently make up the backbone of the American shipping industry. The companies who employ them stand to make billions in profits the moment they can replace them with driverless trucks, which are already being tested in several states. But most of all, American car manufacturing stands to take the biggest hit. American car companies like Ford or Dodge sell a combined 7.2 million cars per year. As driverless cars become less and less expensive and more accessible, the auto companies will be in big trouble, and they will either have to change their business model or completely die out. The sad thing is that no matter if they want to change, I don't think it's going to matter. Studies have shown that a very small and efficient fleet of automated cars could completely replace every single car on the road. Imagine a super network of cars slowly circling through every major city, all talking to one another, seamlessly planning out their routes ahead of time, letting police and ambulances through with ease, rerouting to different positions of the city based on demand, automatically taking routes that reduce traffic and speed up movement. I don't think the auto industry stands a chance. They currently have to sell a massive amount of vehicles in order to stay afloat. As soon as the cars on the road are replaced by a very small percentage, I think it's probably game over. Not only for the auto industry as a whole, but for all the approximately 7 million jobs that surround it. And as these jobs start to disappear, a large group of people in the country are going to be very, very angry. They will protest, and the amount of social unrest across the country might be unprecedented. They're going to make arguments citing the Constitution, the loss of personal freedom, the loss of free movement within a free society, government overreach, and the Big Brother aspect of having a transportation network that is completely at the whim of either the government or a private company. These will all be valid arguments. There could be years of red tape and lawsuits to get through, but I don't think it's going to matter. People will get accustomed to a life with no car payments, no insurance payments, no parking garages or oil changes, brakes, tires, accidents. That first domino is going to fall, and once it does, there's really no going back. The second domino has to do with safety. There's going to be plenty of people who will swear up and down that they'll never get into a driverless car. Driverless cars will indeed make mistakes, and these mistakes will get people hurt or even killed. But in the long run, I think the data is going to show that driverless cars don't get tired, they don't drink a six-pack of beer and then get behind the wheel, they don't have slow reaction times, they don't get distracted by screaming kids or something interesting on the side of the road. Once people realize that their fears were largely unfounded, not only will driverless cars be able to make the claim that they're actually safer than their human counterparts, I think the comparison won't even be close. Fatalities will go down, injuries will go down, and overall, I think thousands of lives will be saved. This is the point where the government will step in to protect its citizens from themselves. The third domino has to do with the environment. The moment that driverless cars become a reality, every single green organization in the entire world will instantly start supporting them. If they can argue that driverless cars are not only safer and less expensive, but also better for the environment, they have the ultimate kill shot. The media will start supporting it as well, and we all know the effect that that can have on public opinion. I really just don't think that anyone will be able to push back against it. The only groups of Americans that will even try to oppose driverless cars will be the people that want to preserve individual freedoms or people interested in preventing government overreach. After all, being in control of these cars is a power unto itself. But the absolutely overwhelming and outpouring of support for the driverless car revolution is going to completely drown any opposition. And as these companies get started and the cars start to take over, the first thing you're going to quietly start hearing about are the Uber drivers that get fired. Then it's the 3 million truck drivers. The car insurance companies start to fail because there's nobody left to insure, and then another 225,000 people suddenly don't have a job. And let's not forget the mechanics and the people who sell cars, people who manufacture cars or sell parts for them. And then suddenly, the 7 million jobs that make up the auto industry have, poof, suddenly disappeared. We started with a small problem, one that many people didn't even know needed fixing, and we ended up with the sudden elimination of almost 12 million jobs. I'm sure there's going to be people out there who disagree with me. They see a future where driverless cars and regular cars can coexist together, and they probably will, but only for a short time. The driverless car industry will create a few jobs. They'll need people to fix them, people to manufacture them, people to drive out and rescue them when they break down, but it will absolutely pale in comparison to the amount of jobs that are going to disappear. This entire thing might seem like science fiction, but for anybody who didn't already know, this isn't something that's going to happen in some distant future. This is your future. This is my future. The economy is going to take a hit like we have never seen in our lifetimes, or possibly ever. I think the government has an idea of what's coming. And once the dominoes start to fall, and the millions and millions of jobs and the trillions of dollars start to disappear, quite a few of very powerful people stand to lose a lot of money. So why aren't the car companies pushing back? Why isn't big oil pushing back? Perhaps they are, and we just don't know about it, or perhaps they don't take the idea seriously. The government is able to take control of utilities in the event of emergencies. Things like power, internet, cell phones, and transportation can be taken over with the stroke of a pen. Currently, driving doesn't fall into this category, but once we turn our roads into a private, government-regulated super network, it will definitely qualify. Thanks for watching UFO News. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Our next video is going to delve into the same topic, but we're going to go a little bit deeper. The creation of the driverless revolution is one thing, but wondering about who is possibly behind it and why, and whether or not this plan might have been executed from the very beginning, not to help the planet save money or make life convenient, but to ultimately control us, is a very real and interesting possibility. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.